APEC Leaders Summit kicks off amid global trade uncertainties. And also, Trump and Xi reach deal on tariffs and rare earths. Good afternoon and salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brendan Lepal. Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim attended the 2025 APEC Economic Leaders Meeting AELM in Gyeongju, South Korea today. The focus is on strengthening connectivity, fostering innovation and achieving development by collaboratively addressing global challenges. The theme of building a sustainable future aligns with South Korea's role as the host of this year's Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC Summit. The primary outcome of this AELM is the Gyeongju Declaration, which is anticipated to be approved by all 21 APEC economic leaders. Additionally, 3 documents are expected to be adopted as APEC's guiding framework in addressing current developments. On another note, the leader of the APEC extends congratulations to Malaysia for successfully hosting the 47th ASEAN Summit recently. This reflects Malaysia's capability to lead with wisdom and dedication. Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim announced that the message was delivered directly by the APEC economic leaders present at the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting AELM. They also exchanged views on various current issues and regional directions. Now, this includes efforts to strengthen fair and resilient economic cooperation. Malaysia's balanced ties with both the United States and China have positioned it as a bridge connecting regional economic blocs. Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim said this approach is also grounded in regional cooperation through ASEAN and platforms such as the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC. The Prime Minister said this after receiving the APEC Business Advisory Council ABAC 2025 annual report from ABAC Malaysia Chair, Dr. Ruben Emir Nanalingam at Gyeongju. Dr. Sri Anwar said he would study the report as an important input for policy discussions throughout the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting AELM. This particularly in advancing an agenda centered on people's well-being, economic justice and balanced regional development. Dr. Sri Anwar is currently on a 3-day working visit and scheduled to deliver Malaysia's official statement during the APEC Economic Leaders Dialogue with Guests event. Prime Minister highlighting the importance of inclusivity in strengthening supply chains, developing the digital economy and promoting regional cooperation for sustainable development. Malaysia's participation in the BRICS economic bloc is regarded as a strategic move to strengthen the country's position on the global stage. This initiative is also backed by major global economic powers, demonstrating international confidence in Malaysia's role as a principled and capable regional partner. Malaysia's participation in BRICS is viewed as a strategic move to expand trade, investment and technology networks in line with efforts to enhance the country's economic growth. This initiative also creates opportunities for Malaysia to strengthen bilateral and multilateral relations, broaden export markets, attract foreign investment and stimulate national income.
So ini satu kaedah yang mana Malaysia boleh gunakan untuk meningkatkan ruang dan peluang untuk menyertai blok kerjasama ekonomi dalam meningkatkan pendapatan, dalam meningkatkan taraf dan juga kedudukan Malaysia dalam ekonomi negara. Perlu dilihat dalam konteks yang positif, yang mana ia adalah satu peluang kepada Malaysia untuk mempelbagaikan sumber dan kerjasama dalam memperkukuhkan ekonomi dengan negara kuasa besar seperti Rusia, Brazil, China, India dan sebagainya yang
Russia and Brazil have previously expressed their full support for Malaysia's aspiration to become a full member of BRICS. This support serves as a recognition of the credibility of Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim's leadership, as well as the country's neutral stance and economic potential.
BRICS is a group of countries which are sovereign nations, which build relationship based on mutual respect, which respect the principle of consensus. Nobody is imposing anything on anybody within BRICS, and countries exchange views on global issues and exchange views on common approaches to strategic issues that shape our modern world. And in that sense, of course, Malaysia fits that criteria quite well.
The same sentiment was expressed by the President of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. He characterized Malaysia as a strategic partner that shares strong economic values and has the potential to create investment and trade opportunities in broader markets. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump had a bilateral summit which took place on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC summit. The state media said Xi emphasized that dialogue was better than confrontation, and he said that China's development goes hand in hand with U.S. Xi mentioned both sides should look at the big picture, focusing on benefit from long-term cooperation rather than falling into a vicious cycle of mutual retaliation. China also announced it will suspend the current rare earth export restrictions against the U.S. for a year. The Commerce Ministry said this after a meeting between Trump and Xi in South Korea. The ministry said China will also make corresponding adjustments to its countermeasures against U.S. tariffs, adding that both sides have agreed to continue extending certain tariff exclusion measures. Trump earlier said the U.S. will ease tariffs on Chinese goods in exchange for curbing the flow of fentanyl, resuming purchases of soybeans, and keep exporting rare earth. Later on Thursday, President Trump landed back in Washington with a surprise directive to begin nuclear weapons testing that raised the specter of renewed superpower tensions. The announcement on social media was issued just before Trump, who boasts frequently about being a peace president, went into a summit with Xi Jinping in South Korea. The announcement left much unanswered, chiefly about whether he meant testing weapon systems or actually conducting test explosions, something the United States has not done since 1992. Vice President J.D. Vance said that the U.S. nuclear arsenal needed to be tested to ensure it actually functions properly, but did not elaborate on what type of tests Trump had ordered. This came days after Russia declared it had tested nuclear-capable, nuclear-powered cruise missiles and sea drones. Trump also claimed that the United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country and that he had achieved this in his first term as president. That, however, appeared to be untrue. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute said in its latest annual report that Russia possesses 5,489 nuclear warheads, compared to 5,177 for the United States and 600 for China. In reaction to the announcement by Trump, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that nuclear testing can never be permitted. Reading a statement on behalf of Guterres, Deputy UN spokesman Farhan Haq said the UN chief also pointed out that the world must never forget the disastrous legacy of over 2,000 nuclear weapon tests carried out over the last 80 years. And that nuclear testing can never be permitted under any circumstances.
Are already alarmingly high, and all actions that could lead to miscalculation or escalation with catastrophic consequences must be avoided.
Trump appeared to be sending a message to both Xi, who has more than doubled China's nuclear warhead arsenal over the past 5 years, and to Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has tested 2 new nuclear-powered weapons over recent days. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that any dialogue with Japan regarding a peace treaty can only begin once Tokyo abandons what Moscow describes as its anti-Russian cause. Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova added that it was Japan's current policies that had driven bilateral cooperation into a dead end.
В ходе выступления в парламенте премьер-министра Такаити ничего там нового не прозвучало. Вы знаете, у нас есть наш принципиальный подход. Вот он как бы тоже, наверное, прозвучит не ново. Мы неоднократно об этом заявляли и раньше. Путь к возобновлению диалога с Японией откроется только после деятельного отказа Токио от антироссийского курса, нацеленного на нанесение нашей стране и ее гражданам ущерба, как там придумали, да, что нам будет какое-то там поражение, ущерб наноситься. Вот от этого они должны отказаться. Это к вопросу о предпосылках или о, так сказать, тенденциях, атмосферах и так далее.
Russia, the main successor to the Soviet Union, and Japan had never signed a peace treaty formally, ending their hostilities during World War II. A Russian bomb strike on a Ukrainian thermal power plant killed 3 people and injured others on Thursday. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described the attack in Donetsk region near the front line as strictly terror.
Удар був складний, комбінований, спеціально прорахований, що було важко протидіяти. Були і ракети, включно з балістикою та аеробалістичними, 52 ракети загалом. Більше 600 ударних дронів, із них шахеди близько 400. Більшість дронів знешкодили, 2/3 ракет теж збито.
Prosecutors in Donetsk region said Russian attacks on private dwellings killed 1 person and injured 3. Sloviansk and Kramatorsk are certain to be key Russian targets in the slow advance westwards of Russian troops through Donetsk region. Still to come, the world's largest cargo sailboat finishes first Atlantic crossing. Stay with us. More of that in just a bit, but over 70% of electrical customers in Jamaica remain without power, with power lines felt across the island's roadways. Satellite imagery from Thursday showed outages in Jamaica's power grid after Hurricane Melissa hit the island. Energy Minister Darryl Vaz stated that many schools remained without power or water. Melissa was the first major hurricane since 1988 to directly hit Jamaica, where authorities reported at least 4 deaths in the southwestern region. More than 130 roads remained blocked by trees, debris, and electrical lines, forcing the military to clear roadways on foot into isolated areas, with ambulances following close behind. One road in the hard-hit coastal town of Black River was swamped with more than 4 feet of sand stretching over a mile. U.S. forecasters estimated Melissa could cause $22 billion in damages and economic loss, and that rebuilding could take a decade or more. Heavy rain and strong winds swept across New York City on Thursday. A street in Brooklyn, New York, was inundated with heavy rain and floodwaters, making it difficult for drivers and commuters. Videos show vehicles submerged and driving through floodwaters, bringing major disruptions for New York City commuters. In a post on X, the NYC Emergency Management said some areas saw record-breaking rainfall, with 1.80 inches recorded in Central Park, breaking the previous record set in 1955. New York City Emergency Management urged residents to avoid flooded streets and stay clear of downed trees and power lines. Paraguay has raised its national security alert and reinforced its eastern border following a deadly police operation in Rio de Janeiro that left at least 121 people dead. Paraguay's President Santiago Peña convened the National Defense Council to respond to the escalating threat posed by Brazilian criminal organizations.
Franja de frontera, particularmente en el este. Esto es no solamente inteligencia, ni no solamente presencia, sino también va a aumentar en números. Va a haber un refuerzo de medios. Esto es personal y material, de todo lo que tiene que ver con defensa y seguridad.
Paraguay also plans to strengthen prison security and expand aerial surveillance using drones. The neo-liner Origin, the world's largest cargo sailboat, completed its maiden transatlantic voyage on Thursday despite sustaining damage to its AFT sail during the crossing, forcing the crew to rely partially on its motor and remaining intact sail. The 136-meter-long vessel, equipped with two semi-rigid sails, first stopped in Saint-Pierre and Miquelon, a French overseas territory near Canada, before continuing to Baltimore. The AFT sail was damaged in a storm shortly after departure, requiring repairs and limiting the ship's ability to achieve full wind-powered performance. The vessel, a roll-on, rolled-off cargo ship rather than a container ship, is designed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80 to 90% compared to traditional diesel-powered cargo ships, as international shipping accounts for approximately 3% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Wind propulsion systems, such as those on the neo-liner Origin, have the potential to cut emissions by over 50% on newly designed vessels optimized for wind conditions. Other systems adding sails to existing vessels also exist. Such retrofitted vessels can achieve emissions reductions of 5 to 20% with no operational changes, and up to 30% when optimized for wind conditions. Coming up, Al Ahly held to 1-1 draw by Al Riyadh in a dramatic late flurry of action. Stay tuned. National men's doubles pair Man Wei Chong T Kai Woon marched into the quarterfinals of the Hilo Open after defeating Indonesia pair Bagas Maulana Leo Rolly Carnando yesterday. The world number 5 pair, however, had to work hard to edge past the Indonesian duo in a 3-game thriller, winning 21-9, 17-21, 22-20 in 52 minutes. Wei Chong Kai Woon are expected to face a stern test in their bid for a semi-final spot when they take on Indonesia's top men's doubles pair, Fajar Alfian Muhammad Shohibul Fikri, who earlier defeated home favourites Bjarne Geis, Jones Ralphie Jensen 21-17, 16-21, 21-13 in 55 minutes. Also storming into the quarterfinals of the Hilo Open were two national women's doubles pairs, Goh Pei Ki, Teo Mei Xing and Ong Shin Yi, Carmen Ting, after defeating their respective opponents. Goh Pei Ki, Teo Mei Xing advanced after edging Taiwan's Teng Chun Hun, Yang Chu Yun 9-21, 23-21, 24-22, while Ong Shin Yi, Carmen Ting earned a straight game win over Spain's Nicole Carulla, Carmen Maria Jimenez 25-23, 21-14. National Sprint Queen Zaidatul Husnia Zulkifli hopes to help Malaysia's women's 4x100 meters relay team recreate some magic at the 2025 SEA Games in Thailand. The 2025 Thailand SEA Games will be held from 9th to 20th December across 3 provinces: Bangkok, Chonburi and Songkhla. The 32-year-old sprinter said if the quartet could surpass their national record of 44.58 seconds set when they won bronze at the 2023 edition in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, Malaysia would stand a strong chance of springing a surprise and claiming gold this time. Thailand are the defending champions of the event with a time of 44.24 seconds, followed by Vietnam, who clocked 44.51 seconds in Phnom Penh. The national 100-meter record holder also expressed hope that her teammates would not succumb to pressure but instead enjoy the race atmosphere, which she believes could help them deliver a memorable result for Malaysia. And in football, Tosha snatched a late 1-0 draw for Al Riyadh against Al Ahly with 2 late penalties, telling the tale in the Saudi Pro League. The hosts looked set to snatch a dramatic victory and go third in the table, but a late defensive lapse meant they lost some ground on leaders Al Nassr. Al Ahly dominated the first half without creating any real chances of note and continued to up the pressure after the break, with Faraz Al-Brekan forcing Borjan into a reflex save with his far post header before Ibanez hit the underside of the bar with a close-range volley. Al Ahly got their breakthrough in the 91st minute after Marzouk Tambakti was penalised for a handball in the box. The cross glanced off his fingers as he slid in to make a block, with a long VAR check following the decision. Tony confidently dispatched his spot kick straight down the centre of the goal, but the drama was far from over, with Al Riyadh getting their own penalty 5 minutes into 12 minutes of stoppage time. Abdullah Al-Khaibari went through the back of Mamadou Silla, and after another long VAR review, Dodger stepped up from 12 yards, slotting his low strike into the bottom left corner in the 101st minute. Al Ahly will be left wondering how they failed to walk away from Thursday's match with all 3 points after their total dominance. Nathan Odase's 79th-minute goal helped Los Angeles FC knocked off visiting Austin FC 2-1 to take a 1-0 lead in the Thames Best of 3 first-round Western Conference playoff series. And it is Austin who gets the hosts got off the mark when Brian Hollingshead's shot from an acute angle in the box deflected off the foot of Austin's Brendan Hines-Ike and passed a helpless Stuver in the 20th minute. Austin equalized 1-1 in the 63rd minute via John Gallagher. The move was started by Mirto Uzuni, who crossed to Owen Wolf. In the middle of a crowded penalty area, Wolf showed great composure to play in Gallagher on the left side, and Gallagher called the shot past diving goalie Hugo Lloris. LAFC coach Steve Cherundolo brought on Ordaz in the 74th minute for Matthew Schoinier, and the substitute made an instant impact. A Dennis Boanga shot from the left side of the box deflected off a defender and looped over goalie Brad Stewart's head before it was turned into the net from close range by Ordaz. Austin protested for an offside flag, but the goal was allowed to stand, meaning LAFC could advance to the conference semi-finals if they can win on Sunday night in Austin. A possible third game would take place on 8 November in Los Angeles.
Son in transition, watch this ball, takes out both midfielders, and now Son is driving out that back.
And in other news, a car painted in Napoli's signature sky blue color drove through the streets of Naples on Thursday carrying a statue of the late Diego Maradona as Naples celebrated what would have been his 65th birthday. The Argentine, who carved his name into Napoli history by guiding them into the Italian Serie A title in 1987 and 1990, is widely regarded as one of the greatest footballers of all time. The statue of Maradona, who died of a heart attack in 2020 and would have celebrated his 65th birthday on Thursday, was taken out of the Maradona Museum for a day-long tour of the city. Napoli fans remembered Maradona's influence on the lives of Italians.
Ma dico non è morto mai, è morto in coppa, ma l'anima vive dentro di tutti noi napoletani, di tutte le persone che lo amano. Per me, io sono anni che festeggio il compleanno di Diego è sempre presente, e poi dico la cosa bella è della gente, del popolo.
Maradona also played at Barcelona, Sevilla and Boca Juniors during his career. The statue shows Maradona with a golden left foot, immortalizing the Napoli legend who led the team to multiple major trophies. Tom McKibben set the Link Hong Kong Open alight on Thursday, firing a course record 10 under par 60 on a day of low scores in Fan Ling. The Northern Irishman's 8 birdies and 1 eagle left him a short short of the magical 59 that Patrick Reed produced on his way to winning last year on the Hong Kong Golf Club's composite course. Jazz Jane Watanon carded at 61 to sit alone in second, with Kiradek Abhi Banrat, Louis Oosthuizen and Thomas Pieters tied for third at 8 under. Just 3 shots separated the top 10, with Hong Kong amateur Jeffrey Shen Hua Ngai producing a stunning 7 under 63 to sit alongside the likes of International Series rankings leader Scott Vincent and Liv Golf's Matt Jones. As well as a course record, it was a personal one too, with McKibben never having gone lower than 62 before Thursday. Matching Reed was never really on the cards either, despite the 22-year-old who started his day on the 11th hole, being 6 under by the time he got to the 18th tee. Reed's historic effort came with preferred lies in place, meaning it was not officially recognized as the lowest round ever produced over the 18 holes, which comprises part of the club's new and Eden courses. That honour had remained with Aaron Rai, who shot a 61 in the second round on the way to winning in 2018. In South Africa, double Olympic MTB champion Thomas Pidcock won stage 5 of the grilling gravel burn race on Thursday. The Englishman said he had targeted the 137-kilometre stage from Blawater to Merino Farm before the event started and was a comfortable winner after catching and passing European MTB champion Andreas Seewald on the final climb. Overall leader Matt Beers came in 5th after suffering from a puncture early on in the race, which required teammate Johan van Zyl to donate his wheel to his fellow South African. In the women's event, French gravel champion Axel Duval-Prévost bounced back from losing the leader's jersey on day 4 after falling behind with a puncture to win stage 5 just ahead of the current orange jersey holder, South Africa's Ashley Moolman-Pasio. The inaugural gravel burn is an 800-kilometre, 7-day gravel bike race that will finish on Saturday. That concludes today's edition of The World Today. And our top story, APEC Leaders Summit kicks off amid global trade uncertainties. Till then, I'm Brendan Paul, Malaysia Madani, Rakyat Disantuni. Thank you for watching and take care.